Hi, it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. Today's battle's on the Mines map, and we've got HeavyTone from Rapid Clan. He's in the P26 40. This is the Italian tier 4 medium tank. We don't show too many low tier games, so they're worth showing from time to time. And let's see how good this tank is. It's actually, yeah, a pretty awesome tank. The standard rounds are good. I was trying to get the stats up here. Okay, there's my cursor to go. So 75mm gun, which is pretty good at this tier. 110 average damage, penetration 97, which is you can pretty much use your standard rounds all the time. Although it's low shot velocity. Let's have a look at the heat round. The HE round is heat, and it's of 130, which is pretty amazing, and it still does 110, which just means you can play at high tiers if you need to. That's the HE round, sorry. Penetration of 70, so yeah, premium rate is heat, but the HE round's got a penetration of 70 and 175 damage, so you can almost play games with the HE round if you want to, but I think Tony's going to use the standard round. They had a bit of a to and fro there with the T28, that can be pretty dangerous, not as dangerous as the T28 with the F30 gun. It's just spotted a Type 91 there. Now this is playing on the ANZ server, so there are bots, and you can tell them in the team list with the column on the start end of each name. Now you do get even numbers of human players and AI players or bots on each team, so it pretty much evens out. So it's not that these games aren't worthwhile. You've still got to basically defeat the enemy. The bots get more accurate as they get lower in hit points to some extent, and they also start using premium ammunition if they're not penetrating. So when you see the gun pop towards you, don't necessarily want to stay in the way of them. They've already taken a couple of hits from the Type 91. And he's been reduced to 132 hit points, which is, yeah, manageable, but you really don't want to give too many more hit points away at this point in the game. It's only 3 minutes in. He's already achieved almost his own hit points in damage, which is your normal goal to start with, and then you can extend that. But in these games with AI players, generally your first tactic is to try and reduce the number of human players on the enemy team as quickly as possible, because obviously they're the ones with initiative, and you hope. So identifying them and trying to whittle them down is going to be the tactic. So there we go, we've got a Matilda there, which is a human player, and he's already starting to take some damage, although HeavyTone has not managed to put any shots in at the moment. And there's a T29. Now that is also a human player. Now if he's going to pull back, he'll be a target. So you'll just have to wait. He's taking a hit, so he's going to pull back. Yeah, typical reaction. Probably more a low tier player, I expect. And HeavyTone is pumping shots into him. He's been tracked and he gets the kill. So first kill there to HeavyTone, and second kill almost straight away, destroying another human player, PZ38T. So that's quick action there, taking down the number of human players quite quickly on the enemy team. That's PZ38NA, quite a decent tank at this tier. It's a tier 3, tier 4 game, so there are tier 3 tanks in the game. And one of the changes that Wargaming brought in when they did introduce these AI players was to actually increase the number of hit points for these lower tier tanks, and that gives you just a bit more reason to play. You can get more damage per game basically, and earn a bit more credits as well, because each hit of damage you can do will earn you credits basically. So we'll see how that pans out at the end of the game. But it does mean you can get quite decent damage totals if you apply yourself at these lower tiers. Now it's just paying attention more to this end of the map than the other one, partly clustered right under the edge of the castle where he was on top before. He's getting proxy spotted, so he was being opened up to the tank destroyers on the hill. So really not much point in staying there. Then if he can protect his own ground here by trying to get rid of that other Panzer 38 NA, then that's definitely worthwhile. So got some other tanks spotted there, it's an M2 medium. So he's trying to use the bushes here to his advantage, but he's had to get quite extended to get out there, so he does get lit. And interestingly, that Matilda not really firing back at HeavyTone. Maybe he's aiming at the Martyrs next to him. The Matilda's a pretty fearsome tank at this tier. It's got definitely good armour and fast firing gun, even though it's low alpha. Pardon me. Still suffering a bit from the coal I picked up from travelling. So excuse me on that one. But Tone now up to just over 1,000 hit points of damage, so yeah, the match is a little bit in favour of the enemy. They're one tank in front and a couple of hundred hit points in front there. Now they've got Valentine 2 pushing up, and Tone just being very careful here. He doesn't have a lot of hit points to play with. Does get lit by the Valentine there, so wisely falls back. Doesn't want to be targeted in the crossfire. But try and change the angle here and see whether he can get some more targets. Just carefully drives into a rock there. I've done that many times myself, so I'm not going to criticise anyone for that. So you've got a few options here to broaden the scope of your attack using this part of the hill, and certainly there's no enemies trying to take it. You can take full advantage of the position here. So there we go, there's the Valentine 2 facing the other way. Well, that's a bot or AI player, I think. So get more shots in, tracks him. Should get another shot in before he disappears. And okay, looks like he's going to chase around the corner a bit, so shot going wide. So that's one of the disadvantages of the gun on this tank, is that the bloom in the aiming is a bit severe when you rotate the turret, and also after firing, unless I said farming. Put that on my mind. There's some more targets down there, but just not really sure who's behind him if he does pop out there, so come back here and use the cover of the rocks to keep up the attack on those tanks there. So Panzer 38 NA is still around somewhere, last seen at the back, and he's going to be difficult to track now. Hetzer has come out. Hetzer, I think, is also an AI player. It was. No, in fact, that was a human player, so that might have working really well here to support Tone. But there are now 2 tanks down, and he just needs to take his opportunities. The 10 TP is on very low hit points. If you can get a shot in, I just missed there. Let's get these guns out of the game. And 10 TP is a human player as well. Oh, well, he was. He's been sent back to the garage by... Oh, that's a Tartman 1 getting sent away, so 10 TP is still there. Alright, pay a bit more attention to the messages. There he is, and luckily he's facing them away. Nice snapshot there, gets the kill. He does get lit here, so he's a bit exposed to the Panzer 38 NA, and luckily he takes that shot on his tracks. Can't really afford to take too many more hits now. Just stops short of the going too far forward against the cover there. And you see a shot just came in, that Panzer 38 NA anticipating where he was going to appear. Tone decides to double back a little bit and come back from a different angle, and there's the 38 NA pops out and spots him. So he's going to have a bit of a challenge here. Oh, and he takes another shot on his track, so that's dangerous. Does take a hit there from the 38 NA, and to potentially one-shottable, gets some ramming damage and then puts the kill shot in, so takes full advantage there and takes another shot on his tracks from the 14 TP. So enemy team's now been reduced to 2 AI players, and he's got himself and a Valentine 2, which is an AI player, so he's really got to now try and use that Valentine to spot. And luckily, the AI player's on full health. It's got Panzer S35. It's interesting, it's a premium tank, but it's in the hands of an AI player. Tone here just using the body of the Panzer 38 as protection, but don't think he'll need that. I think he'll have to push that a bit further and take advantage of it. He's got a fair bit of cover in between him and where those other two tanks are, so he can move up and change angles if he needs to. But we'll see what happens if they get exposed, because I'm assuming their programming will make them push forward. It's 4 minutes to go, or 4.5 minutes to go, so plenty of time. But that Valentine 2 can be the spotter if he's in the right position. Oh, in fact, there we go. Panzer S35 has popped out. Doesn't really have a shot on him, so it's going to put into another position here. You can see there's a very small map, so the view ranges of the standard tanks are pretty good in comparison. Just looking for a gap there. But yeah, it's going to have to push a bit further forward here. There are some pushed up positions as well, so you can take advantage of that. Not need to use his own spotting here. In fact, there's the 14 TP, and he puts a shot in as typical AI player, just facing a different direction until he gets hit, and then he turns around and tries to acquire a target. And can he get one more shot in? He does, he gets the kill. So one more shot now, and that's, in fact, I haven't been paying attention, that's Tone's 8th kill. So that's earned him his top gun. I don't think we get Bradley Walters at this tier, but we'll have a look at the results from when we do. And the PZ S35 there, again, it's pretty standard AI player behaviour. Now Tone's not spotted here, so he's going to have a chance of getting shot back. The tank will go backwards and forwards behind cover, so he just needs to be ready for him to pop out. He's picked up some assisted damage there, which is good from spotting, so that means the Valentine 2 in his team is putting some damage out. Guaranteed that S35 will pop out again. It's very unlikely to double back and go around the hill, so you can be a little bit patient here. Tone deciding that patience is not a virtue, and he'll try and push up, and so he lights the S35 and the Valentine 2 gets the kill. So great game there from HeavyTone. Nearly 2,000 hit points of damage, which is great. We might have got tipped over that. We'll have a look at the detail. Alright, here's the details. Yeah, it looks like the damage didn't change. 1.9k of damage, which is still nearly 4 times the hit points of his vehicle. 8 kills, gave him the top gun, and he also got the Steel Wall Award for blocking damage, and the Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. So how do you go to the team? Well in front in terms of experience, right? 12 27 got him the Ace Tanker level, and he just finished second in damage to the Marder 38T, who was really playing a really strong game, but from experience you can see he was giving up a lot to other tank spotting, so even though he got higher damage, he didn't get the same amount of EXP out of that. So they really carried the game for their team. And on the enemy side, we've got Dazza19 from Banff Clan in the 38NA, who was, yeah, and Dapper Dave, I think, was the one at the end. So it's very similar damage outputs and not much different in terms of EXP. But you can see, yeah, both HeavyTone and, I won't say the name, but it's a great name for an Australian who carried the game. Now, what did it mean in terms of profitability? Well, he fired 42 shots, which is pretty extreme, but these are pretty much pew-pew guns. Although 75mm at this tier is not exactly pew-pew. 27 hits and 22 of those hits penetrated, so pretty good shooting in that respect. gave me his damage total, and a fair bit fired over more than 300 meters. Not bad for that gun. So he did have some personal reserves running, which always helps, but his costs are pretty low, and he made a decent nearly 41k in credits for the game. So you can see the profitability of that tier. Yeah, it's quite decent there. Anyway, a great game there for HeavyTone. Thank you very much for the content and also for your support of the channel over the years. Hope you like the video. To those who are watching, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. It certainly helps promote the video amongst other content. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing that. I have more great content to follow, and thanks very much for watching.